Ashtar, the Enhanced DNA Update, Phase 1, Observe the Dust. Greetings, family. It's good to be here again. I am very happy with this moment for this brief message. Your DNA is being updated in an accelerated way. This is pretty obvious, I know. How much has happened in the meantime, you know. This was scheduled. This is a time of rebirth for you. Many things are being released from your Akashic, memories, feelings, visions, emotions. Everything must come for you to look. You need to look. They will no longer be able to keep it in you. I have warned you about this in my most recent messages. It is your time to look deeply at yourself. Nothing else will be hidden in your unconscious. This process of intense updating that you are going through now will trigger all of this and make it possible for you to be more sensitive to our presence. Many of you feel bad for not seeing us as you would like, and or not having any sensitivity to perceive us close by. First of all, dear ones, I have to say that everyone, without exception, all of you can feel us through your loving connection. But I also have to say that this is sometimes made more difficult by the dense layers that are above you. Layers that will just then start to be released now with the update in progress. These layers are often not even yours directly. They are from the planet itself, from the vibrations of the planet that stayed there for ages, and you, with your tremendous compassion, chose to assist by lending your own energy fields to serve as force transmuting fields. This is incredible and noble, and of course, when it comes to your part in these layers, we have the following. DNA Update. Number 1. For many ages, you have accumulated several things, and a large part of this has been kept in your deepest being. Deep pains. And now, the update will help release these layers for your sensitivity to begin to return. Number 2. The interference that your DNA has suffered since eons by non-Confederate civilizations has also atrophied, so to speak, the potential of your DNA. This I do not need to explain in more detail. Some people expect the DNA update to be something extremely complex, and it is not, but at the same time, it has its delicate details there. Try to observe with simplicity, because that is the key to the acceleration of everything in a loving and precise way. First, we need to give energetic injections into your vibrating fields in order to cause some shaking in all of these fields. It is as if we are shaking a rug that has spent a lot of time in a closed house. It has accumulated some dust, certainly. So this shaking is necessary in your fields, remembering that all of this is with your consent, as we could do nothing without your authorization. Second, after this shake, you will certainly begin to have an emotional upheaval, dreams, sensations, visions, etc. Everything you imagine could happen, because this movement will make you face what was forgotten and kept in your unconscious. We won't judge you for that, ever. You have been through a lot of things there, and it is, let's say, normal that you want to escape from painful memories and trauma. But now you can't do it anymore. Not anymore, because you are ready to face all of this. It is a great healing point here, and you will feel more and more lighter afterwards. And thirdly, as the dust rises to be sucked up by the vacuum cleaner, and in the meantime you can see all of it right in front of you, we can then enter the direct adjustment in your DNA, putting the ideal oil in the gears that were blocked by dust, sabotage, etc. Do you understand? But then we have another point. After the dust has been sucked in, the oil has been added, it will slowly start to rotate to full and perfect functionality. This takes time. It is not overnight. It takes time, and you need to be patient. It is like a comatose patient who has spent a long time immobile, and when he regains consciousness, cannot force him to walk with complete dominance of his physical faculties. It takes time for all recalibration to happen naturally, smoothly, until it is fully engaged. You are now in the phase of watching the dust that we shake off. I know that some of you are trying to get away from this dust because it looks really hard to deal with, painful and unbearable. But wait, please. Don't close your eyes to it. You need to see it. Everything will be fine. You need to trust your mentors, your team that is with you. You are not alone in this. The more you observe this dust, and the more your loving lucidity is expressed when you face it, the more the cleaner aspires it. Definitely. For the eternal enlightened Akashic, the great database of lived experiences. Synchronicities and equal numbers on clocks. Certainly, many of you are having wild dreams, many memories of distant times are returning. That is exactly what I am talking about. What was kept is being observed now by you more consciously. You are being called more in ascension hours such as 11:11, 12:12, 14:14, 15:15, and these are just a few of the examples of the synchronicities that you have seen. They are alerts, dear ones. They are sacred commands for your awakening. You have programmed special keys for your moment of awakening, and when you see these synchronicities, even if your conscious does not understand well, your unconscious knows exactly what is being said. Follow the flow. Changes in your life. In addition, you are receiving the withdrawal of certain friendships, sudden changes of course, transformations in general in your particular environment. Yeah, that too is part of, dear ones, the adjustments of your DNA. While all this adjustment is taking place, naturally its vibrational frequency changes, and everything around it also. Thus, everything that is no longer compatible with your experience will begin to follow new directions. You yourself will begin to see yourself differently and notice changes in your tastes in various things. It is very common if, for example, you have spent your whole life liking vegetable soup, and from one moment to the next, you no longer want to even see it, preferring now a bean soup. This is something that you need to see with more affection, because sometimes you will resist. I always liked vegetable soup. Why don't I want it now? I like vegetable soup. So when you eat what no longer feels good, you feel a certain inner discomfort. A vegetable soup is wonderful. But I want you to understand what I want to say more intimately. I'm not talking about the soup itself, but about the internal changes in you. Learn to respect them, as they are part of your transformation, and you need to be aware. Follow the flow. Food adjustments. Another point I need to talk about is animal protein feeding. There will also be a drastic decrease in food with this protein, and here I need to emphasize two things. Number one, we are not judging or condemning anyone who eats in such a way. Our intention is not to judge them, never. If you still eat in such a way, a great process will begin, and this will begin to diminish until you simply do not want it anymore. This is also part of your DNA tuning. We see many of you blaming yourself for still consuming animal protein. You need to remember that there is an ancestral lineage, in many cases a genetic history of your ancestors who ate animal protein, and that goes on from generation to generation. So don't blame yourself if you feel like it. Understand this point. You are expanding in compassion and love, and it will affect your will and everything around you. Your diet will change, not because you force to change, but simply because your frequency will be different. If you are unable to stop at the moment, Give thanks with all your heart when you consume it, leaving its luminous vibrations of gratitude. This will assist in the reprogramming process across the planet. Number 2. Those who no longer consume animal protein. Do not judge those who are still in the process of changing their diet. Do not forget that one day you have also fed on animal protein, whether in this or another existence. The internal guilt in many is already too painful. Judgments don't help, dear ones. Of course, it is evident that everyone needs to have compassion for each other, including the animals that donate their lives in order for their bodies to be food proteins. But it is important, without a doubt, that there is a hold hands, and know that all of you, regardless of food or anything else, are heading towards the same point. Vibrations are rising, and soon there will be a reformulation in the form of planetary food, not because people were forced to stop eating meat, or because they were forced to eat for some reason, but because the frequency will change completely, and it will be something natural. I need to emphasize on behalf of the command I represent, if you judge a brother who eats meat and feel better than him for not eating, there is something else that you need to see inside you. And if you judge him for not eating, for finding some nonsense and a health risk, you need to review some things inside you. All of this, in the midst of updating your DNA, will be accounted for. There are things that you don't know yet at a deeper level, so refrain from judgments so they don't turn on you. You have already received sacred teachings on this. He who has not made mistakes, let him throw the first stone. Concentration as time speeds up and everything gets more vibrant. One of the things that you will notice the most in the midst of this great update is that you will also be seeing the most vibrant colours. The plants, nature, the sky, everything will be with more vivid colours. You yourselves, as you remove the dense layers, you will feel lighter and have a greater ability to concentrate. Obviously, some of you will now say that you are having a hard time concentrating, and yes, that is also part of the process. Do not despair or blame yourself for anything. This is a moment of inner acceptance, of lovingly observing and analysing yourself. Do not run away even from its thickest shadows. This is a great time, so watch the dust every grain, and now there will be no other time. Take advantage of the area of space in which you are immersed, with an incalculable amount of photons that is helping in this whole process. I also know that many are complaining about the lack of time to do what they need to do. Ashtar, time is running too fast. Oh yes, I know. Interesting, isn't it? This is also part of it. We have already warned you about this. Dear ones, you will start to get even more sensation that time is too fast, or that some time bands are faster or slower than others. And that is also part of the DNA update. But in this case, Gaia's, it is also going through the same processes as you. She asks the Creator to do so. Everything you have experienced, she has it too. Do you think it doesn't hurt to see her fauna and flora being destroyed by the greed of human ego? And do you think it doesn't hurt to see that many who do this are in extreme internal pain, and the only way they can ask for help is this way? This is a time of mutual compassion, dear ones, and whoever understands the profound meaning of my words will be able to alleviate the internal tensions a little more. Curing low self-esteem. There is also an increase in the low self-esteem of many, in discouragement, in depression. Know that the Creator's mercy is sending legions of holy angels to earth to help all of these souls, and all of you at all levels. But know that just as you are receiving this help, you also need to help, and again, starting with non-judgment. Part of the chaos on the existing planet is due to the judgment of many, the lack of understanding of each other. I always talk in my messages about the importance of respecting differences, beliefs and more. We observe low vibrations when you get into discussions, sometimes initiated by simple things such as, who came first, the chicken or the egg? I know this sounds funny, but often dense discussions start there, and we see entities that sustain these densities feeding on the vibrating chaos installed there in the discussion. Light workers and warriors, pay attention to your vibrations. Today, everything you do, you think, all your movements are much more observed than ever before. Those who do not want you to go through the ascension process expect a minimum slip to further delay your process. Remember, you are the Ashtar Federation and Command, incarnated on Earth and largely responsible for the entire transformation of the planet. This is your great moment of healing, elevation, and realignment with your most subtle fields. Old luggage needs to be left aside lovingly to keep it lighter. Do not carry more burdens that you know you no longer need to carry. Hear the voice of your heart. Listen to our voice that echoes through synchronicities and the various signals that we have sent, directly or indirectly. I want you to know, once again, that you are extremely important in this whole process. If we get to this big turning point, all that is happening is because you have achieved this. Hold hands, regardless of differences, and walk together. So it will obviously be faster. You know that what was said a long time ago is also in progress. The separation of the wheat from the chaff is underway right here and right now. You know that. Finally, we from the Ashtar Command will make a brief exhibition with our ships in a certain region at a certain time later this year, 2021. Certainly, you have seen several fleets showing themselves to you recently. This is just the beginning of the show. We go calmly, smoothly, but always ahead. There is still a lot to do, and the team in space and on Earth is ready. Can I count on you? Oh, and how do I know, you will ask, Ashtar, what about the virus? I already tell you. Watch the dust, and be ready to see more than you imagined when it comes down completely. Even though you are very aware of what has happened, you will still be surprised about everything that is happening. Watch the dust. Watch. I am the voice of the Ashtar Command, and I speak these truths. And so it is. Blessings, your brother Ashtar. Adonai. Channeled by Gabriel R.L.